Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really excavating something quite remarkable. We've got this fascinating collection of sources all centered around the Metatron transmission. And there's this expert analysis too, called A Compass for the Spiritual Journey. So our mission really is to unpack this. It's a complex spiritual message, right? We want to understand its core themes, its unique language, maybe help guide you through what it calls this profound great shift in consciousness. Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah, and what's really striking, I think, from the analysis is how this isn't presented as just, passive wisdom. It's very much framed as a directive, almost like a siren or alarm. It's really urging active participation from you, deep personal healing, aligning with a universal purpose. It's about doing, not just believing.
That's a powerful distinction right there, right from the start.
Yeah.
So, okay, to really get this directed, we probably need to understand the messenger first. This figure, Metatron, he has quite an intriguing history, doesn't he? It seems to evolve.
Oh, absolutely. It's fascinating. In a traditional Jewish mysticism, he's the prince of the presence, a celestial scribe, you know. And there's this incredible imagery of his flesh turned to flame, a huge transformation. But then these modern spiritual sources we looked at, they reimagine him. He becomes an ascended master.
Okay, so less of a scribe and more of a guide.
Exactly. A guide for humanity, specifically helping us co-create what they call a new Earth. So this evolution itself is really key, I think. He's not just some historical figure, but presented as an active, guiding intelligence now.
Right, active now. So he's this, evolved guide. How does he communicate these big directives? The sources talk about language of light or fire letters. What even is that? How is it different from just words?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. The analysis suggests these aren't words in the way we usually think of them. They're described more like symbolic codes, maybe like energetic algorithms. The idea is they directly unlock higher understanding within you.
So they bypass the thinking mind.
Sort of, yeah. They're apparently tied to Metatron's own fiery transformation. They're meant to initiate healing on a deeper level. And what's also interesting is how the analysis connects this to ideas from, quantum physics.
Quantum physics.
Yeah.
How does that fit in?
Well, suggesting personal transformation isn't just isolated, it resonates outwards through a universal field, kind of like non-local effects. These codes are supposed to recalibrate your inner operating system, I guess you could say.
Wow, okay. That's a whole different way of thinking about communications. So if the language of light is the code, the sources say it's reprogramming us to remember something called Adam Kadmon, the primordial man. What does it actually mean for us, this divine blueprint?
Right, Adam Kadmon. So connecting it to the bigger picture, it's presented as humanity's original design, your pristine potential, before all the layers of conditioning and, forgetting. So the great shift that the transmission talks about, it's fundamentally about recovering this lost wisdom, glory, and immortality.
Recovering. Okay, so it's not about becoming something new, but remembering.
Exactly. Rediscovering that original radiant design, dusting it off, you could say. That's why it frames enlightenment as recovery rather than salvation. You're reclaiming what was always yours.
I like that. Recovery, not salvation. Powerful. Okay, so in this recovery journey, the message mentions Christ councils. What are these? Are they like church councils? Doesn't sound like it.
No, definitely not historical church gatherings. The sources describe them as a spiritual hierarchy of ascended masters. Figures like Jesus, yeah, but also Buddha, even someone called Serapis Bey. They're presented as guides for both personal and planetary evolution.
So the authority shifts away from institutions.
Precisely. It shifts to your own individual connection with these, enlightened beings or frequencies.
Yeah.
They're framed as an inner resource you can tap into, not some external pulpit telling you what to do.
Interesting. And sticking with reinterpretations, the message even tackles things like the seventh seal from the Bible. That usually sounds pretty apocalyptic. How does it get reframed here?
It's actually a really beautiful reinterpretation. It's not about a literal, scary end times judgment. Instead, it's presented as a symbolic silence, a moment of doing nothing, but in a conscious way. It's about creating space within you to receive new perceptions, new insights.
Like hitting pause on the outside world.
Exactly. Hitting pause to really listen inwards. It's meant to shift your perspective entirely from just watching things happen to being an active co-creator. So it's an invitation, really. Participate in a new chapter. Don't just wait for it.
Okay. Participation, co-creation. That leads to the last piece. Divine will. often sounds like just submitting, right?
Yeah, that's the common understanding, but this transmission flips it. Divine will here isn't about passively submitting to some fixed plan. It's about actively aligning your personal will with a higher universal purpose.
How do you do that?
Through dedicated inner work, the sources say, and crucially, through surrender to the present moment. Not giving up, but fully engaging with now. The analysis calls it a grace revolution, empowering you as a co-creator. You're actively shaping reality through conscious intention.
Okay, so pulling it all together, this deep dive really shows the Metatron message as a kind of profound wake-up call. It's pushing for a personal great shift, guiding you to reawaken that original Adam Kadmon blueprint. Using this language of light with support from these ascended masters or Christ councils, it sounds like a path towards personal sovereignty.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it. Personal sovereignty, reclaiming your inherent divinity. And the practical advice seems to be embrace stillness, do the inner work, heal anything that we are ready to face. Also, utilize creative expression and definitely seek community. Don't do it alone. So the final question it leaves us with really is for you, the listener. How will you start to integrate these instructions? How will you actively shine on in this unfolding new earth? How will you embody that blueprint?